Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, a live telethon on Channel 19. They've added an hour. If you go to WMMS.com, the details are all there for you. Still says 8 to 10, but they've added an hour. So it's 8 to 11. It is tomorrow night. It is called All for the Land COVID-19 Relief Live. It will be live on CBS 19, CW 43, and it will simulcast here on WMMS and WTAM 1100. So you're going to see and hear people from MMS and TAM and Cavs broadcasters, and a lot of people associated with this, to not only put a focus on people who are doing amazing things in Northeast Ohio, but also to generate funding for the United Way, Food Bank of Greater Cleveland, and a lot of other local organizations. So it's tomorrow night. It's live, and I think it'll be very helpful. And so we encourage you to watch or listen, if for no other reason than the fact that Bill Squire and Alan Cox are part of it.
Clearly.
Yeah, I'm a huge part of it. Yeah.
On.
Of the 3 hours, I'm most of it.
Well, that is true. It is. They were going to call it Bill-a-thon 20.
Yeah.
But
they should have some other celebrities in this thing, not just all me for 3 hours.
That's absolutely correct. And it was going to be him eating a garlic and tomato ragu for 3 hours.
Ooh.
And then they thought, well, maybe we should do a bit more than that to generate some interest in the helping people out. Cherry Picker's mom opened the window, handed him Windex and paper towel, and said, if you're already out there.
Hey, while you're up here.
I like that. Hey, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Ryan. Ryan hung up.
I think he must have hung up.
Okay.
I watched Step Brothers last night, and when they do the Pam Pan thing, I was like, are you saying ham or hand? Like hand sanitizer?
Ham sanitizer.
Ham sanitizer?
Yeah. Well, we were looking
Just to
over
myself.
we were looking over the catering for Easter, right? We're going to have some food delivered for Easter. Even though Easter is canceled, we will be, I'll tell you guys here, we will be taking next Friday off.
Oh.
Good Friday.
Oh, so we got no...
So put it
Wow.
on
Friday, next Friday.
Put it on your
The 10th.
well, we'll record one, Bill. That's what we'll do.
I was supposed to have a show. Well, that's not happening.
Saddest Easter ever.
Supposed to be in St. Louis right now as we speak. That'd have been in O'Fallon, Missouri.
Oh, that's an awful, awful part of St. Louis.
Is it?
Yes.
Well,
I used to be on in St.
comedy
Louis.
events.
Oh boy.
What, like it's ghetto or like what?
It's just, I mean, St. Louis Metro is a very strange place. It's a fine, fine town. O'Fallon, as I recall, not the greatest place to be. Nevertheless, we were going over we're looking over some catering for Easter, and Gwen was reading the menu to me. And she said, ham or roast beef? And I go, what's ham or roast beef?
Dad joke.
Because my daughter's sitting there, right? Mm-hmm. And Gwen goes, ha. And I go, hammered roast beef. I'm really digging in, and she's starting to get. And Nora
getting
goes,
another phone call from her.
Nora goes, it's two choices, ham or roast beef. And I go, I'm doing this for you. Like, what?
Goddamn funny.
She's over it. She's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I know you heard me right.
She spends all day with Gwen. Why do you think when you get home, she's just like, oh,
This guy. Ugh, God.
Man.
This
dad
guy
jokes is home.
again. I know. But I'm not.
Two choices.
Yeah, I go, hammered roast beef. That doesn't sound good. I'm making the pounding motion and the whole thing, right?
Also,
I'm doing the act out. She wouldn't have it.
Alan, I have a question for you, and maybe for your kids as well.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I didn't know if your older son, since he's been to college, he had a girlfriend or anything like that.
Had a what?
Girlfriend.
A girlfriend.
He's talked about his girlfriend.
Yeah, he had a girlfriend in
had
high
one.
school, and she goes to school as well. They've been real on and off.
Okay.
So I haven't really bugged him too much about that because it's been kind of a prickly situation.
Because the question has...
I was hoping he would go and meet somebody brand new because that's kind of what you're supposed to do in
college experience.
Like the only advice I was able to give him, because it's not like I was Joe Party in college, but I did just fine as far as interpersonal relationships was. I wasn't out in the bars and stuff. But I go, college is when you can completely reinvent yourself if you want to. Trouble is, there's a lot of people, and when I went to college, there were two other people from my high school that went to the same college I did. And I only knew one of them. So I was essentially starting from scratch. My son, a lot of his friends go to Michigan State. So I'm like, the inclination is to still hang out with your friends,
Yeah.
which I totally get, because that's probably an easier way to kind of glide into meeting new people. And he met plenty of new people.
Is his
But
roommate
my
a
experience,
friend?
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it won't be going forward because they're all living in different places, but my experience was starting from scratch. And I think that's like, I don't
Do
know.
it.
Yeah, I didn't have a buffer,
I guess my question was, if you guys, say if your son had a girlfriend and they're together right now, is the relationship on pause during quarantine? If you're not quarantined together, like if you guys aren't together during this time, so you're going to say your relationship, however long this quarantine goes.
Well, I assume people are FaceTiming and
Yeah.
So I dated this person for 4 months, but you kind of didn't because you guys weren't necessarily seeing each other. You guys were
Well,
talking on the phone.
Yeah, it's like long distance relationships.
I mean, they
Those
were
aren't relationships.
relationships are whatever you make them.
Right.
I mean, there are people who exist on FaceTime, but they're, if somebody who, who was there was like a news anchor in New York who was like married to one of the Browns coaches or something, and then those guys lose a gig, so they go to another team. He ends up with the Rams, and she's still on the air in New York.
Well, what's her face? Elizabeth Hasselbeck was like that, right? Because
where she was on The View and her husband was in Seattle.
Well, her husband was
Or her brother-in-law.
Yeah, the brother.
Matt was her.
Matt. She wasn't with Matt. She was with a different Hasselbeck. But he was on the Giants for a while, but then he got moved to another team for something. But like,
Tim, is that her?
Yeah, Tim.
When you're rich, it's a lot easier to have a long distance relationship.
Well, because you
right
can
now-
fly, but right now it would be any
everybody's
easier.
got the same situation where
Yeah.
if you aren't quarantined with that person, then you're basically maintaining your relationship through technology.
But that's what I'm saying. If it's a new relationship, I'm getting out. I'm like, why? What's the point?
You know what I thought about was that people who, I know everybody's like on dating apps because they're bored and stuff, but I'm like, you're going to have to answer for this. Like people who are texting or starting relationships, or they're like, oh, well, I can't see him, so it's fine to flirt
What
or
do you mean
whatever.
answer for this?
Well, if like you're flirting with somebody or you're being like overly, because you're locked up and you're a little horny or whatever it might be, I'm like, we're not going to be in here forever. So if you're like
Yes, we are.
texting somebody and you're sending pictures, I'm like, you're going to have to answer for this in a month when you're allowed back outside.
Nah, we're going to be in here forever.
I'm dead serious.
You have to answer for this.
I have a friend who's doing that, and I'm like, girl, you better slow down.
And she's like,
oh, well,
in a
it's-
serious relationship?
No. I mean, they started talking at like the beginning of March, and she's like, oh, well, I can't really see him, so it's harmless. It's this, and I'm like, just be careful. My other friend, who was in the 6-week relationship and then moved in for quarantine.
What's going on
What's
with
the
that?
update?
She texted me and was like, so we're looking into getting a marriage license.
Stop.
I was like,
love it.
dude, you have known him for 2 months. I was like, oh,
That's because of the sanctity of marriage, Mary.
well, I text her back and I was like, so quarantine's going well then? Like, it
Yeah, I was
seems-
going to say, I mean,
Yeah, this week.
I know.
I mean, honestly,
Oh,
if you
man,
spend that much time,
she drives me crazy.
But so she said that. She's like, yeah, I mean, it just feels right. I really like this guy. And I texted her. I was like, I don't like this at all, dude. I was like, I can't tell you you're not happy. I was like, but you don't.
You need to
You
get
don't know
married.
him.
You don't need to get married while you're in quarantine.
I was like, think about this. You've never been out to dinner with this guy.
but maybe
You don't know how he treats people in the real world. You have no idea what he's like. I mean, you know what he's like one-on-one, but what if he's a total prick when you go out to eat?
Well, but one thing I will agree with my conservative Christian brethren is people wipe their ass with marriage now.
Yeah.
Like, people don't care. It's easy to get in, easy to get out. So it's like, if you listen, it's battle
She's
conditions.
like head over heels. This is the man.
and she, first of all, you don't know he's not. B,
that's what I said. But
she might just be looking for something to do.
I don't know.
Get married.
8 weeks. They've known each other 2 months.
Some people go, I met him right away and I knew.
But
I
why
guess.
is
65 years later, my son's coming up in a bucket truck.
the marriage license thing is weird to me? Like, to
Well,
want
because they
to-
can't have a wedding,
they-
obviously. So
and
they
that's
want to
the
go
thing.
get married.
So why even get married? Just you're living together, basically. Just let that happen for a while,
But this-
and then see what happens once the world starts again.
But this also means that he's down with it. Mm-hmm. It's like The Bachelor,
They're the
where
same
they,
age.
where you have two people who have had everything laid out for them and the amazing trips.
Yep.
And the network buys them a ring and blah, blah, blah. And they force them, not force them, but you feel compelled to propose at the end when you've picked a girl. And then, 6 months later, they're like, yeah, the lights were off and the cameras were gone.
they
Right.
force them to propose.
Huh?
I'm sure they force them to propose. You're not going to go through all that. And
Well,
they'd be
that's
like,
the whole
nope,
premise
no
of it.
yeah, that's you.
You're coming in
That's
to
the
find your
payoff.
wife or husband.
Yeah, I'm
or
sure that's
whatever.
part of the
But-
contract.
That's just
I
wild.
am shouting out to neighbors who I used to like to see when we were outside and free. Is there something else to watch besides the news and Finding Dory? The social distance between us, and I'm freaking out.
Chills.
Hello from the inside. It's just me and myself and I, and a stay-home order that's breaking my heart. But it's clearly what we should have done from the start. Hello from Corona Live. I FaceTime called 1,000 times to show you I'm sitting right here on the couch. What's the point of putting on pants anyhow anymore?
Anyway, that's Chris Mann on YouTube. That's very funny.
He can sing.
Yeah.
Speaking of Corona, they have stopped brewing beer.
Oh no!
Nobody's buying it.
Right.
Well, Mexico shut down non-essential services, so
Oh.
Modelo had to suspend their production.
Wait, I thought beer was essential. Not in Mexico, it's not?
Well-
because in America, liquor sales are through the roof.
I'll tell you what, though, Mexico has taken a lot of heat because their president is making Trump look like Johnny on the spot. Like, this guy's still out there doing rallies and meeting people, and so they're like, bro. So I don't know what precipitated this because I hadn't read anything that this Mexican president cared. You know, he's pretending that it's a hoax or whatever, but I mean, maybe it's the order coming from the American side of the whole production, but Modelo and Pacifico brands suspended production at 11 breweries in Mexico through the end of the month. So they said that they're lowering their production to the bare minimum. I don't know what that requires, but... Wow. So, you know, I had...
Beer minimum.
We do our Corona cruise in August, and I am not letting that go because I am still holding out hope that everything else that we've had to postpone, spoiler alert, Alan Cox Show comedy tour. Who knows when that's going to happen this year?
Do you want to do it remotely?
It's the Alan Cox Show Zoom comedy tour.
Hey, we can get some bigger comics on it that way.
Boy, I'll tell you what. Yeah, this would be a great time to be getting some Zoom guests on the line. But, you know, we'll do bar crawls in the summer.
We could actually
Those
set
aren't
that up.
going to happen,
We should
obviously.
set that up.
Huh?
We should set up some interviews like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we get
I'm already
Kathy
on
Griffin?
it. She's like recovering from coronavirus.
Oh, she is.
Didn't her
Yes.
mom just pass away?
Yeah.
Yes, and her mom just died.
She
and the
might
whole-
need a job.
We're not paying her to call it.
I'm not offering someone a job.
I was talking about the comedy show. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, right. Kathy Griffin, I love her. I'll talk to her twice a year, but she has an appeal that I think is largely different from our audience. I'll talk to Kathy Griffin because I like Kathy Griffin. She's a hometown girl, and I get along with her very, very well when I talk to her. But she is a very divisive individual. And that's coming from me, the liberal tard. But the Corona Cruise, which we usually do in August, I'm really, really hoping that will still happen.
That'd be cool.
It would be great if the timing worked out where the very first public event that we did again was the Corona Cruise.
That would be awesome.
Get out on the river, on the lake,
in the sun.
bump elbows with people.
That's what we would
right?
need.
Everybody gets a mask when they come
We
on.
would give away 1/6 of the tickets. So yeah, I don't know. You know, early on I was like, oh, August, it's a million miles away. We'll be fine. Now who knows?
Nope.
Cleveland Clinic CEO just played that clip earlier. He goes, mid-July is our best case scenario. And obviously in Ohio, we're not coming late to the game. All these other states playing catch-up. Thank God in Ohio, whether or not you think they're going about it the right way, we're not seeing so far, not seeing what other states are seeing. So they jumped on it early. But Corona, for their part, I mean, as far as what's going on in Mexico, they're not doing anything down there. And obviously Corona, you know, they were the earliest, at least PR victims of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
So people are like, "Yep, I get it.
beer
That beer virus. But they said early on, they were like, oh, no, we're doing fine. Our sales are up.
Yeah.
They're not down. So, you know, that sucks that they got to stop doing
Did
whatever
they
they were
stay
doing.
up or did they drop?
Well, there was that, a stat maybe a month ago when we were talking, it was like 63% of Americans thought that they were related.
Well, but
Some
also,
astronomical number like that.
Yeah, something like, I think it was 68% of Americans were
unbelievable.
like, yeah, I won't drink Corona because I don't want to get coronavirus.
but there are also different states doing different things with alcohol, too.
That's true.
Like if you can buy it, like in Pennsylvania, I was texting some friends of mine in Pennsylvania, seeing how they were hanging in there. And he's like, I've been home for 17 days and I had to drive to West Virginia to get Captain Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
Because Pennsylvania shut down the state stores. Like PA, because it's a Commonwealth, they got weird liquor laws. Like if you want beer, you got to go to a distributor.
Mm-hmm.
You
Can't
gotta
buy
go,
anything in a gas station.
Yeah, you got to go to a state store if you want booze. So he's like, you know, I paid $40 for a $25 bottle of Captain Morgan because I'd drive to goddamn West Virginia. So every state's doing weird stuff. Ohio, they're still selling booze. I mean,
yes,
you can
they
go to
are.
yeah,
They better
because it's
keep
essential.
It up. It is essential.
Dispensaries are still open.
I've been drinking.
Well, those should be too. So no, I'm not doing the coronavirus cruise. Stop.
Stop it. Hey, I go. Hey, hey, don't say that.
We moved, let's see. Oh, Rick, who was our bureau chief, one of our bureau chiefs in Jacksonville, Florida, he said, we've been in Jacksonville for 3 years, and my son and girlfriend have been dating, coming to visit each other. And what?
What?
Oh, I don't know. He's something along the
Are
lines.
you sure
of
it's not regular Rick texting? If it's that,
I don't know. Maybe it is. Can Rick text?
Text just like he talks.
that would be how it would come out.
He still uses T9.
Maybe so.
I just called in to just writing some, just getting in there.
Yes, absolutely. 1,000 times yes.
Oh, Rick.
I mentioned this before, but I kind of alluded to it. But University of Pittsburgh thinks that they might have a vaccine for COVID-19. Obviously, there are a lot of people working on this. And University of Pittsburgh has they have a lot of biomed companies in Pittsburgh. You know, Google's there. There's a lot of tech and med and UPMC, and their health system is usually at the forefront of a lot of things. And they've unveiled a potential vaccine. And they feel like it could accelerate how the population is vaccinated against COVID-19.
Nice.
They said it's a lot like a Band-Aid with hundreds of small needles.
This is not how I want to hear a story about Pittsburgh.
Me either.
It's a lot like a Band-Aid, right?
You look so good while you're saying this.
That's so formal. Okay. Bill, I'm assuming that the medical professionals don't sound like that.
I
You know,
think
like
they do. They really do.
It's in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's not gonna sound like a regular person. They're gonna sound like a Pittsburgh.
So we finally might have a line on a vaccine here, right? It's a lot. So it's kind of like a Band-Aid with 100 little small needles in it. But in this particular case, the needles are made out of sugar, and we incorporate the vaccine directly into the needles. I'm Dr. Lewis Filo here, University of Pittsburgh School of Medicine. All right?
Oh, messy.
All right? You can believe me. I know what I'm talking about. It's an incredibly safe approach. There's no bleeding. There's no pain. Because the needles aren't long enough to hit the nerves. It's like the width of a human hair. And they're only 0.5 millimeter long. The whole thing. It's like liquid sugar.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome. So if you're worried about the COVID-19, forget about it.
He's got a great bedside manner.
It's
He
gonna
really
be
does.
fine. Don't worry about it. It's all gonna be good. We're gonna be partying at Station Square before we know it. Gonna be back to having sushi and tequila on Carson Street, right? Ooh. Hope I don't run into Big Ben trying to assault somebody in the bathroom. All right. Are you ready for the Bill Squire Friday Get Down?
Yeah.
All right.
Everybody, have a drink, have a drink, have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Brother Leslie, how?
All right, the Bill Squire Friday Get Down is brought to you by Cleveland Whiskey. It is the official start to the weekend. Are you ready, Bill?
Let's do it.
It's Friday. It's been a long week. You've been in quarantine, but now it's time to let that giant shine. Get some Cleveland whiskey, drink it down. Galaga, galaga, galaga. It's Friday.
Everybody, have a drink, have a drink, have a drink on me. Everybody have a drink on me. Hey, hey, everybody drink on me. Brother Leslie, how?
Let that giant shine.
Hey, you like it finally?
I just thought of the lady who was using the flashlight. What are you doing? I'm letting my giant shine.
Don't hide your light under a bushel basket.
Oh, boy.
If you're looking for all kinds of delicious recipes with the Cleveland whiskey, like the Peking Sour, you can go to clevelandwhiskey.com. They're all over social, obviously, and they are also in the midst of making hand sanitizer for the Cleveland Clinic. So they are collaborating to help in that way. But clevelandwhiskey.com for all kinds of valuable information. Obviously, liquor stores are open, but you can also hit up BevMax if there's a place near you that does not carry Cleveland whiskey. Let me take a break here. If you want to get the last word in, send me a text, 35192. And we'll be back after these.
The Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free iHeartRadio app.